What's going on? I'm Matt. I'm an audio engineer, and this is my humble little home studio setup. Most times I am working out of a studio here in South Philadelphia, but I wanted to beef up my home setup just because I like working on stuff at home. Sometimes I have work that I'm doing for my own personal projects or just mixes I want to do, here at home. There's just an ease to that, and also I just like having my own gear. For the last 12 years or so, I've had these monitors. They were Fostex PM1s. I did not love them, but they got the job done for a long time. Just in general, they did not translate well. So if I did a mix here at home, they just sounded different somewhere else. And that was really starting to bug me. So I saved up some money, I did some research, and where I ended was the Kali IN-8s. So let's get into the fun part. I picked these up from Guitar Center last night. So this is the big old box they came in. This is just one of them. Full discretion, I did open one of these last night because I just can't help but open a new box. But I did leave one for the video. So let's get into it. Trusty knife here. And just in case anyone was wondering, no, I have not been in contact with the company. I paid for these with my own money. Yeah. All right, so they give you this little guide here. This is just about kind of ways you can orient the speakers depending on which model you got, suggested angle of setup in your space, kind of how you want them positioned relative to where your head will be, and then just safety information. So that's all the paperwork that's in there. Power cable, awesome. It looks like it will be long enough. Mine don't have to run very far, so that's nice. There are these tiny little kind of foam, maybe feet for them. They're a little, not gonna lie, they're a little sad in size for the size of these speakers. Silica gel, a very important piece of audio equipment here. Don't eat it. Now we get to the fun stuff. Foam and the big old speaker. Here she is. I don't need that box anymore. We are getting into the fun part of the day. I know I'm very graceful about this, but wrapped in this guy and a big piece of paper that it reminds you to remove before use, just in case you thought that was supposed to stay on. And the reveal, the Kali IN-8s. The thing that's exciting about these to me is that this is a three-way speaker. Per my understanding, which may be, shaky, this is, you got your woofer here. This is primarily reproducing your low end. And up here, this is kind of two speakers. This little tweeter in the middle is gonna do your high end. More of the mids are being reproduced by this outer cone here. And I think in theory, that's supposed to take some of the work and the heavy lifting off of this big woofer here so that it can focus more on low-end content. These are definitely bigger than my previous speakers, which is exciting, but also a little intimidating because they're pretty large. And on the back here, we have some guides as to how to set your speaker for your space, which is nice. Take that out of there. This was another kind of selling point for me on these speakers is they have all these little diagrams kind of showing different ways you may have your speakers oriented in the room, if they're close to the wall, far from the wall, sitting on a console, sitting on a stand, sitting on a table. And they have these little dip switches where you can make what I assume are EQ adjustments to kind of compensate for problems that may arise if that's how you set them up. They also have further switches for a high frequency and low frequency trim, which is nice. So that way, you can adjust these speakers for your room. But anyways, fun stuff. Let's get our speaker set up. All right, so now I've had a chance to spend at least a little bit of time with these speakers. I messed around on some old mixes that I have on my computer. I tried making a beat. I listened to just a bunch of music that I know really well, so I at least have a sense of, how they sound generally. The main thing, at least compared to my previous speakers, because that's my reference point, is that the low end is way more present and just even audible compared to my old speakers. They were like a 5-inch cone. This is an 8-inch cone. I tried using the switches on the back to boost the low end by 2 dB. It was a little too much, so I did go back. I used the switches to say they're on stands by the wall. Everything sounds clear. One of the main things I noticed is that there is very good separation between the different aspects of songs. So like, especially in those mids and highs, there is clarity that I didn't have before. And I think part of that is, again, the bigger speakers, they have more headroom, so I can push my monitor output a little more and it doesn't feel like it's like compressing inside the speaker. They feel open. And again, just those highs and mids there's separation. I can like hear stuff that I did not hear with my old speakers. So the detail, again, especially in those areas, great. My main comparison for speakers this size and price range are, I've done a lot of mixes on Yamaha HS8s. Now that wasn't a totally different room, and I have been monitoring on those for longer periods of time and at louder volumes. So I've got a good sense of the bass that those give off. These feel like they're, a little less aggressive on the low end compared to at least my memory of the HS8s. But I will say that the top tweeter, the dual tweeter situation on these does provide what feels to me like more clarity in the mids and highs. I'm excited to see how some mixes come out and translate, and I think it will still take me, a few weeks, if not months, to really wrap my head around how these things work, how they translate, how they feel. But first impressions, I'm really happy with them. Again, these are first impressions. This is day one of having these speakers. Had them set up for maybe 2 hours now. So these are not definitive long-term opinions. I will be working with them more in the coming weeks and months. And really, hopefully I'll get to know them better, get a better sense of how they really translate, how they work within my room, what kind of adjustments I need to make sure that they're translating. Initial response is, I love them. And again, I did, drop like $800 to get them, so I better like them, but there's also some bias in that. So consider that if you're using this to, make a purchase. Weigh your options, do your research, but I'm liking the Callies. Thanks for watching if you watched this far, and, if you're into it, do the whole like and subscribe thing. I would appreciate it. Thanks.